I fucking hate it here. Okay. I hate it here. Growing up with a grandmother who was heavily Christian Baptist, hearing about Noah's Ark and going to church with her, I always loved the story. I'm not religious myself, but it's beautiful. And I always thought of boats as this vehicle for a new place. Slave ships are vehicles for a new place. But for me, the concept of Nzzy's Ark is heavily dependent on who I invite on that boat and where I direct us. My ark is a vessel for liberation. Like being from the South, there are swimming pools everywhere, but very few of us actually engage with the water in depth. Like a lot of people be in the water, but we don't know how to swim. I can swim, but like don't leave me with your child. And so the idea of being someone who can't swim and wanting to build boats and arks, like I love being on the water. I just don't succeed when I'm in it. The idea that this water is this like tumultuous terrain for me, but in order to cross it to go somewhere else new, I have to do the work. Like I have to use my hands, my mind, my community to create something that keeps us afloat. If I had to describe my work in 3 words, I would say Southern, surreal, subversive. I enjoy shooting through windows, doors, places that feel like portals, like I can peek through and enter a new phase of something. My ark is full of art, of course. I have been a poet since I can remember, but I transitioned to film in 2020 because everybody thought the world was gonna end. I mean, goddamn, it's still ending. And I was like, damn, if I don't become a filmmaker now, you know, I don't even know if I have tomorrow, but if I don't take like the 23 hours I might have and the 24th be my end to become a filmmaker, like I've failed. So I pivoted from poetry to film, and now I'm deep in my screenwriting bag. Behind us are some poems that I have written in different points of my life. One thing that I'm deeply obsessed with that I think keeps coming up in my work is the concept of love and a revolution, and how if I can't date you if you don't have a revolutionary spirit, if you're not a revolutionary, if you're not in your community in one way or the other, I can't date you because you don't love me. I was homeschooled for my entire life. Due to that homeschooling and also by parents who didn't have it all together, I experienced several degrees of abuse and neglect. People always think like homeschool kids are supposed to be these shining stars and they're so smart, they're so studious, but there is a dark side to it. I am grateful to have been isolated because of how my imagination has come to help me survive. My first visual poem, called Bless Your Heart, is definitely derived from my experience as a Black woman in the South, dating here and dealing with intimate partner violence. Grown Folks Table is about kitchen tables within a Black family dynamic, and so we explore cookouts, we explore baby showers, we explore all the places where Black tables are honored and where cards are played, but we also explore my relationship to those spaces and how every time I sat at a kitchen table as a child, I felt like I had to swallow pieces of myself to commune and eat, whether that was because I was unknowingly queer at the time, I was weird, I was homeschooled, I was isolated, and I am deeply, deeply grateful for that piece because I've excavated parts of myself that I didn't know were there. In my art, I get to pick the wallpaper, and this ain't it. I identify as the t-shirt with holes in it that my grandmother fries chicken in. I identify as the skillet she cooks cornbread in. I identify as that comfort and also like the right to be ugly and at home, and that's what makes it beautiful. Like that's more so of my identity. And so when I think of this idea of the arc, I'm always like, I just want to act like a little boy. I just want to run around with my shirt off, cussing, playing, slap boxing with my friends. Like I want to bring that energy to the arc too, because that's my idea of fun and liberation, is like cracking open a beer and talking shit with my people, and us not feeling like we need to be pretty, because pretty doesn't exist on my arc. Beautiful does. I learned a lot of that from my father, who had this visceral, disgusting, unnerving hate for his oppressors, being a man who was incarcerated most of my childhood. And when he was released, I learned just how much hate he held because he gave it to me in unflattering and harmful ways. But what I learned from that is that it is a source of power. It depends on how you wield it. Apologies are important. Change behavior is even more important. But regardless of how somebody has repented and restored themselves, that does not mean they belong where you're headed. So when I think about who will hopefully be on that arc with me and who will be left behind, I think about people who have done so much damage to me and mine that they must find their own way out. You know, drawing a line through to point to my home life, whether that's me drawing a line through all of my failed relationships, whether that's my family dynamic that I'm trying to improve. I fucking hate it here, but God, I love those people, right? I love the place that I'm from. Where there is trauma, there's also a lot of joy and history that I want to preserve in a way that benefits me and future generations, not in a way that weighs us down. Honestly, I hate it here, but I don't love it anywhere else. So either I build this arc and get on that motherfucker, or